greetings to everybody. This is your teacher, Jose Manuel, and we are going to start with the class in page 62 and 63, listening and speaking. Okay, so look at your photos and discuss their differences and similarities. So check. What is this? This is a laptop and this is a cell phone. So let's talk. What are the similarities and the differences? What are similars and differences? For example, what can you do on a laptop and what can you do the same way in your phone? ¿Qué puedes hacer en el laptop y qué puedes hacer en el teléfono? De la misma manera. ¿Qué puedes hacer, por ejemplo, qué puedes hacer en el laptop que no puedes hacer en el celular y viceversa, ¿no? Solo tienen que escribir unas 3 o 4 oraciones colocando similitudes y diferencias. Now, listen to the first part of a podcast and identify the theme they are discussing. Ese es el 2. Aquí hay que colocar de qué están hablando en el podcast que tenemos ahorita. Y listen to the rest of the podcast and write Ross, Becky or Todd for each statement. Es decir, tenemos que reconocer quién dice la primera oración. This speaker hates when people talk on their cell phones in restaurants. No, este hablante odia cuando la gente habla en sus celulares en restaurantes. ¿Quién será? Ross, Becky or Todd. Vamos a escuchar eso. Entonces el 2 y el 3 lo hacemos con el mismo audio, ¿ya? Les dejo entonces con el audio.
Track 19.
Hey there, everyone. You're listening to The Ross Harrison Show. Today I have 2 techies as our guests, Becky Thompson and Todd Andrews, and we're talking about the pros and cons of electronic gadgets. Speaking of gadgets, you can send me your comments on Twitter or Facebook and download any of my podcasts online at www.rossharrison.com. Don't forget, our phone number if you want to contact us is 1-800-HEY-ROSS. Becky, let's talk to you first. Tell us, what are the pros and cons of gadgets?
Thanks, Ross, and good morning, listeners. The pros of gadgets are easy. They make life easier. I mean, you can get information, music, books, movies, and all sorts of stuff on your mobile phone in minutes, instead of having to go to a bookstore, library, or movie theater. Remember when people had to use those heavy encyclopedias to find information? Well, Wikipedia does the same thing, but all the info is online. On the other hand, there are some major cons with these devices because all these gadgets mean we have less time away from our work or studies. What I mean is that our schools and offices are on our gadgets, so you never get away from these places unless you switch everything off. You know, lots of people just can't survive if they turn off their phones.
Oh, you're so right, Becky. We really have become over-dependent on technology. I just hate it when people answer their phones in movie theaters, or when you hear someone talking on a cell in a restaurant. Still, you can't argue with the fact that gadgets have made life easier. Just think about dealing with emergencies or contacting family without them.
I absolutely agree with you, Ross. I think another big advantage of gadgets is that it's so easy and inexpensive to communicate. Take Skype, for example. As long as you have an internet connection and a device, you can Skype anyone, anywhere for free. It's just amazing, and it's the same with messaging. We're all connected, and the gadgets have dramatically transformed the way we work, the way we study, the way we socialize, and the way we, entertain ourselves.
You can't argue with that. We have a tweet here from Elizabeth, one of our listeners. She says we are too dependent on gadgets. We just buy the latest version every time it comes out, and half the time we don't use all the features on our devices.
Well, I think she has a point. The companies who make the devices want to keep selling their gadgets and making money. And there seems to be a kind of competition for people to have the latest gadget. Don't you think so?
I'm not so sure about that, Todd. Making good use of gadgets is something we can control.
You're probably right.
I have to say, I don't agree with you on this one, Becky. I think most people really can't control the way they use gadgets. So what about the cons of gadgets, Todd?
Well, the problem I see with gadgets is the whole question of how we interact with each other. It's kind of sad when you see families eating and the kids are messaging instead of talking and paying attention to their parents and siblings. I think it's important to put away your phone and turn it off while you're talking to someone or doing something you like. For instance, have you ever seen people in a gym who are texting or calling someone while they are working out? I mean, can't they survive an hour without their phones?
That is so true. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Remember to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and at rossharrison.com.
Okay, that's it. So you have to listen. You have to listen the podcast and answer the question that is what is the theme they are discussing. ¿Cuál es el tema? No, solamente una oración. They are talking about. Listo. Dice, ahora tienen que colocar una R, una B o una T en estos R, B or T for each statement. Okay, so to recognize which speaker are talking. Okay, that's it. So you have to starting off listening and speaking. You have to talk about or write some 3 or 4 differences between a laptop and a cell phone, and the audio track podcast number 2 and number 3, exercise 2 and 3. That's it on your notebook. See you the next time.